Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This is your host, Becky McNattin, along with host Tara Martini. We're so glad to have you listening as we live and share stories of mental health today.
We are so excited for today's show.
So excited.
We say this every week, but today we are so pumped. So a little statistic for you, Becky, before we get going, which blows my mind. By the end of 2025, the dating app industry was projected to surpass $13 billion.
Wow.
Which is insane to me. So I wanted to know, well, how many people are actually using dating apps? Psychotherapist Danielle Sukanik states that 53% of American 18 to 29-year-olds and 37% of 30 to 49-year-olds use dating apps.
Wow.
I was shocked by the younger demographic, actually.
That maybe it would have been more?
That would have been less.
Oh, that it would have been half of people.
Yeah. Which is
18 to 29 years old are using dating apps.
So knowing this has become a cultural norm, we had to explore it.
Yes.
What better way to dive in than to have an individual on the show who is currently actively dating via the apps. So we want to welcome Miss Audrey Anve to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I'm thrilled to be here.
We are so excited. So, Audrey, and I feel like I'm putting you out there as an advertisement for dating. You are 26.
Yes, I am.
Single
Mm-hmm.
and currently active on the dating apps.
Yes, single and looking. So
Yes.
if you like what you hear.
Yes. I thought of that too as I was driving into work today. I was like, this could be like our first matchmaking. Like someone out there.
Who knows? We're feeling out loud.
Yes. So Audrey, outside of the basic stats that I just listed, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So I am Minnesota girl, born and raised. I grew up just sort of in the East Metro, and I went to St. Thomas for college. I love St. Thomas, Royal Toms. And then I was a political science major in college, jumped from college into the world of tech. So did not follow my major at all, but loved my college experience, just was looking for a job post-grad. Now I work sort of in the Orange County tech world, but I am remote from Minneapolis.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So I live downtown. My friends all are sort of nearby. Got the best friends in the world. We love to travel, read, go out to eat, do all the fun things. But yes, so very, very vocal in the community. I love Minneapolis. I would die for that city. So
Wow.
yes, it's been so much fun to be able to spend my 20s here for sure.
Cool.
What an amazing 20-something experience already for you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
It's been fun so far. I'm excited to see what comes next.
Well, absolutely. So you are 26, and how long have you been dating online?
Loaded question, because I've been sort of on and off the apps throughout my teenage to 20 years, but I started online dating in college freshman year. So I joined the apps when I was 19.
Okay.
And I'm 26 now. So what is that? 7 years?
Long time.
Long time. And obviously there are breaks in there as well. Mental health breaks, things like that. But I've had accounts for 7 years.
That is amazing. And that is something that surprises me. I was shocked that having a conversation with someone who was 19, and he was like, yeah, Tara, everybody's on the apps. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a teenager. Like, aren't you just supposed to turn around and meet someone? Like, that's what you do.
Yeah. I have a thought on this. And I think it's because my generation specifically was so chronically online growing up.
Yes.
Like, I had an Instagram account when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And that was just sort of like what defined you as an individual. It was like middle school and high school. It was like, who's following who? And like, maybe this guy's interested in me because he followed me on Instagram. So the screen was like a place of comfort. So when you go to college and you're looking to meet people and you're not sure what the vibes are, you're having a hard time reading body language, that is coming from a place of, I am unsure about this person, but it's safer behind a screen.
Okay.
Wow. Great
such an interesting
point
topic.
and insight.
And we're going to be talking about the mental health impact of online dating because there is one. And more to come. We're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about this topic as soon as we come back.
All you got to do now
Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. I'm Becky McNattin, along with Tara Martini. I want to dive right back into our discussion on mental health and online dating because they are one and the same
They absolutely
and
are.
impact each other.
Yes. So a fun fact, I don't know if I've shared this on the show yet, but I am also an online dater. And the very first time that I used online dating was way back in, I think, 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, I think there were like two,
Mhm.
Match and eHarmony.
Mhm.
To my recollection, to my memory. Right now, I have been back on it for a couple months, and they're a plethora, and it was overwhelming. Like there's Bumble and Tinder and Hinge and Match and Raya, and it's just so much. So I want to know, Audrey, what ones are most commonly used, just from your use and friends and just what you've heard? What are most commonly used by your demographic?
Yeah, I think there's like the big three. And I'll clarify Raya is sort of like a bubble because if
Yes.
you can get onto Raya, you're on Raya.
Yeah, it's you have to, it's kind of like an elite.
Yeah, you have to like
You have to be
worthy.
asked.
Yeah, which is
Yes.
I think a ridiculous thing in itself. But
It very much is.
yeah.
Yes.
But the big sort of three are gonna be Bumble, Hinge, and Tinder.
Okay.
And I think Tinder more so, for myself at least, has faded to the wayside because that's not really what I'm looking for.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so Tinder is, I would say, sort of like the you're here for a good time, not a long time app. So you're looking for something maybe non-committed, something
Okay.
like quick and easy to like find a connection and maybe not maintain that.
Okay.
But if you're looking for serious dating, I would say Hinge is going to be the app that markets itself as the dating app that's designed to be deleted.
And that's the one that, and I may be wrong, has a connection to Facebook. Like it's almost like they're taking like connections or friends from Facebook and
It's possible.
making algorithms through.
Yeah, the algorithms on Hinge have been a real debated conversation, I would
Yes.
say, and I think they've changed over time. And
Okay.
I've seen them change for sure from my experience.
Okay.
I no longer think that their algorithms align with what their message is.
Okay.
Because I think all of these dating apps want to profit. And
Absolutely. Well, as we
people-
can see, and they are
Right.
profiting.
Right. And
billions
people
of
getting in
dollars.
relationships
Yep.
is not going to help them profit. So
Valid.
they're not necessarily designed to help you find the one, and they're not going to set themselves up to be super successful unless you're willing to pay for those paywalls.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting when you think about it. But my big two are Bumble and Hinge that I'm on frequently. And I think there's different pros and cons to both. Hinge is very limited on like how many matches you can have at one time, how many people you can be speaking with, the amount of likes you have in a day. It's supposed to be more intentional. Bumble, I like because it's similar to the Tinder sort of space where you're swiping and you can't see who likes you. And it's just sort of, if you have a match, you have a match. But it's also like encouraged that the female messages first on Bumble. So you have a little bit more control over the conversation and the situation. And you sort of can control the narrative of how the conversation goes right off the bat, which I think is nice to have as a young woman that's dating and trying to figure it out.
I agree. And I'll speak for the old women out there. Everything you just said, I agree with. I think Hinge was there were less matches and things like that. And
Yes.
then Bumble, what you said about the control factor and being female and being able to make the first move and having control of that. But also what I like about Bumble was the idea of if you're a female who hesitates of, well, what am I supposed to say?
Right.
They have those little sentence starters
Yes.
that you can send. So for those that struggle with that first communication of, oh my goodness, I don't want to say hi, how are you? There are things. So they do help in that communication piece.
Totally.
So yes, I feel good that the young person is saying Bumble, and that's the one that I was on.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Bumble, I would say, is my most successful in terms of dating.
Yeah. What do
Okay.
you like about the dating apps?
Yes.
Such a good question. I don't know if it's necessarily what I like about them, but I think that it's like a means to an end that I feel can be successful. I've seen people be successful with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like the fact that you can see sort of a variety of different types of people. I like being able to sort of envision myself with different types of people and their profiles that they've created and understanding what's important to them. And I just like the the options that exist out there. I think it's a double-edged sword though, right? Because you've got so many options as well. So I really do. I enjoy being on the apps and I enjoy the instant connection. And when you're feeling like there's not any sort of wild connection in real life, having that option is really nice.
Yes.
But at the same time, it can really impact your mental health as well.
It absolutely can. And I think for the older generation, I think the plus is, particularly if you're parents as a single mom, I don't have time to go out and kind of meet in the wild, where
Right.
it was a nice thing of when she was sleeping, it was my time to do
Mhm.
that. So wonderful, like you said, to do those things and also really get, a wide selection as far as different types of people and different things like that. But also, that leads us to, there are positives. As one of my friends, an online dater, says, the experience of getting matches, connecting with others, and fun banter often results in dopamine hits, which provide benefits to our mental health.
Yes.
But while there's benefits, it can also be exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Audrey, how do you feel after a session of swiping?
I think that you really have to ask yourself why you're swiping, right? Because there are going to be times where I am feeling like I need to open the dating apps because I'm behind, because I am not where I want to be in the stage of life that I'm at, because my friends are getting engaged, because they're buying houses, because they're getting married, and I'm still here.
So it's an obligation.
Right. Yes. So there are days when that is the reason you're on the app. And 9 times out of 10, when you run out of likes or when you decide to put it down, you feel so much worse because it is just a plethora of more and more that it feels like you're starting from square zero.
Sure.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go out with these people now and I have to meet them. And what if they don't align with me in all of these different ways? And yeah, I'm on the right steps, but it doesn't feel good. And then there are times when you, I think, are in a really great space mentally and you're just actively looking for a real connection.
Yes.
And then you feel better because it's like, oh my gosh, I've made some really great matches today. We'll see how things go. But I like talking to this guy. I think that he's really fun. And like, he gets my sense of humor and we're witty and we can talk to each other really quickly. And I'm like, my friends always say I'm very quick. So like, if I don't have that immediate sort of banter, witty connection, it's a no for me because I just know that I'm not going to be interested for that long. So I think it's, it depends on the day, but I would say more than not, it's tiring because it's just you're not finding the matches and it's so few and far between that you do find one where it aligns with what exactly you're looking for.
Yeah.
I think you bring up such good points, and we'll talk about one of the points you bring up a little bit later about when is a good time and when is not a good time
Right.
to really delve into the world of online dating. Have you ever felt dating fatigue?
Totally.
Where you just needed to take a break
Yes.
from the dating app?
I am right now coming off of a dating break. So I was on a dating break from like November until now.
Okay.
I just recently re-downloaded the apps a few weeks ago, but
Okay.
yes, because I think, and it takes time to get there, right? Like you learn throughout your times on dating apps what works for you and what doesn't. And for a really long time, I never deleted them. And then it got to a point post grad where I was like, this isn't serving me. I know that like my person is out there, but I'm not finding them right now. So I need to put this down. And I actually would delete my Hinge account so many times that Hinge told me I would be banned if I did it again because they thought I was a bot. And I get it. Like they're trying to protect their users.
Oh,
But so now you have to be like more careful about just put the account on pause, don't delete it because you will be removed.
There we go,
permanently.
everyone.
Yeah.
Public service announcement.
Right. So yeah, absolutely I take breaks. And I think it's important to take breaks and recenter with what you're looking for and maybe where you're at in life. Because not every stage of life is going to be a dating stage. And when you're going through a lot at work or with family or with friends, sometimes you're not in a place to commit yourself to getting to know someone else as well.
Such a good point.
Very good point.
Something that I hear often is the choice that can be on dating apps, and how do you cope with that kind of choice overload?
Yeah.
Or the of seeing potentially lots of people and the wonder of like who else might be there.
It's a big thing. And it's sort of like always in the back of your mind a little bit. And I think
I can completely see that.
yes, as you learn more about yourself in dating, like my roommate and I always say we're a really good first date because we've gone on so many first dates that it's like, I know when to laugh. I know what to say that will hit. And like,
You're programmed.
It's like, I don't know, like a call, like you're an interview. You know what you're doing and you know what works and what doesn't based based on trial and error. And I can't count on two hands the amount of first dates I've been on. It's so many. And I think after a while, I started to learn that although dating apps are so appearance focused and like you're reading the bios and stuff, but that initial reaction of yes or no is based on appearance. I am such a personality person.
Yes.
That is my like,
amen.
In a box, I need to connect with them personality wise. And there are so many men who have been in my life who I have grown attracted to over time after I've gotten to know them as a friend. And so I think that once I acknowledge that it's all about personality for me, the idea of what else is out there sort of got quieter because it wasn't about all of the other super attractive men that I could swipe and see in 2 seconds. It was about like, I've finally found a connection where I feel like I might bond with their personality. And that was exciting. And that tuned out I could keep swiping for 100 days and have a million matches and be so happy. I would never be satisfied because I'd never feel a real connection.
Right. Such a good point and such good insight. And I think that is the more insightful we can be and deliberate and intentional about our choices. And I think one of the points as I was interviewing people for this episode, there were certain things that came up. And one of them was that about you just have to be so intentional on the apps about, because you are literally, as much as you want to say you're looking at the little details underneath, it is purely physical.
Absolutely.
Am I drawn to that person?
Sure.
And you need to understand that the minute you get to that first date, there's so much more to that, right? Because they could be a very handsome man. So you get to that first date, but oh my goodness, their personality and your values don't align.
And that's huge.
And then their physical appearance means nothing.
Right.
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 And so it's really sticking true to your values and things like that. And that's going to get to the second or third date. So now we need to bring up some terminology that even Becky, who has never been on a dating app, I have faith you've heard of these terms.
Definitely want to talk through some of these terms that commonly occur in online dating.
Yeah. And even in just dating in general, I think we hear these in the office. I think we hear these in sessions.
I think they occur in friendships too. I think they occur in any relationship.
Yep.
Psychotherapist Danielle Suknik explains some of these terms. And
She
the
does.
first one is ghosting, which is this sudden disruption in a relationship without any explanation from the person. The ghoster just vanishes. It's like they disappear, often leaving the other person with questions.
Yes.
And maybe some answering ourselves of questions that we don't actually have the answer to.
Right. Next one. I never knew there was a name for this. Orbiting. That's when someone ghosts but continues to follow the other person on social media by watching their stories or occasionally engaging in their content.
Yes. Which would be so hard to know that that's occurring. And then we have breadcrumbing, which is when someone drops these little tiny tidbits of attention. It could be flirtatious attention. It could be just a noticing to keep the other person interested, even though they have no intention of developing a relationship. Some classic signs of breadcrumbing are not responding to messages for long periods of time, vague communication, and avoidance of discussion related to feelings. Something that would seem like maybe it's growing in commitment. And this could really be any kind of relationship here. So Audrey, any of these sound familiar?
Oh, so familiar. And I'm a seasoned vet at all of these.
And of course, as a clinician, a mental health clinician, I'm thinking all about the impact of these, the mental health impact of these. What impact have you seen them have?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is reminding yourself that it's not just you that it's happening to. Because for myself personally, the first time I got ghosted, I was 19, 20 years old. And it felt like the end of the world because it was just like, oh my gosh, I thought we had like a real connection here. And now suddenly he's just gone. And it made no sense to me. And I spiraled out entirely. And my friends, like, God bless them, but all of my friends are in serious committed relationships. They've been with their people since high school, since early years of college. So it's just, they've never really had the dating app experience in the same way. So there was no one there that was like, I get it. And I've experienced it and like, it's going to be okay. And then you start to meet more people and you start to understand that unfortunately, it's just a part of the culture of dating right now. And so I think that coping with it is just understanding that it's like, okay, what's meant for me will find me. And that was not meant for me, because if it was, it would be here. I'm such a firm believer in nothing meant to be in your life will require a tight grip. And so if someone chooses to leave my life with no explanation, that's not mine to carry.
Right.
Wow.
And it isn't.
Right.
It isn't.
Mhm.
You also have to remember and give yourself some grace, girl, because at 19, developmentally, your brain can't even
Yes.
process that idea.
Yes.
So for sure, at 19, you are going to take the concept of ghosting and internalize it
Right.
very differently than you are at 26 when
Totally.
someone ghosts you. You're able to look at it from a very different perspective.
Yes. And I think it takes so much time to learn. So the perspective I have now was not the perspective I had when it happened the first
Correct.
3
Yeah.
times. Like the
Yes.
perspective I had then was like, oh my God, my life is over. What's wrong with me?
Correct.
But after you take some time to like really get into the space of dating and you understand it's not you. It's
Well-
entirely the communication style of the person that you've chosen to spend time with.
And it's
Yep.
certainly any time through our life, having someone who we've felt a connection to can cause us a reaction, even if we psychologically understand or intellectually understand what's
Yes.
occurring. So people who are ghosted, it can feel like their basic needs of belonging or self-esteem or need for control are threatened. It can be hard for us to trust people. People who
sure.
have experienced breadcrumbing
Mhm.
are significantly more likely to have feelings of loneliness,
Mm-hmm.
helplessness, less life satisfaction because of the lack of intimacy there.
Right. And as far as victims of orbiting, they report feeling levels of exclusion and also that threat to their basic needs, but less so than victims of ghosting. And that whole piece of orbiting, it's that ambiguity. It's
Mhm.
that not knowing. So you sit in that wondering.
Yeah.
If that other person, well, maybe they're still attracted to me. Maybe they will eventually want that relationship. So you're sitting in the wondering and you're sitting in the questioning.
Yes. And I think
Which is an awful state to be in.
a lot of people find comfort there too, because
Yeah.
it's the only thing they've ever known.
Right.
So if you've only been on dating apps and you've never been in a successful, committed relationship or something that was healthy, and a different example of what that is, you find the breadcrumbing and the orbiting sort of comforting in the fact that maybe there's someone out there that might be interested in me.
Well, honey, because there's hope then.
Right.
Right?
Right. And so I think that it's a real balance of identifying what's unhealthy
Very good
and
point.
who's not supposed to be in your life versus the people that are giving you an attention here and there. Because there's no example of what healthy love looks like if that's your only example of it.
For sure. And I think you have said it so beautifully of, well, what do we do when these patterns happen to you? And I think, one of them is we know that when this happens, we create this narrative around it that can be very unhealthy and lead to self-talk. But like you said, when it comes down to it, if we keep reminding ourselves, this is so not about us. And this is more about the person and the communication style they have and the issues they are struggling with, and not about us. But that's hard to do at 19.
Oh my gosh, it's hard to do at 26.
Yes.
You
Hard to do
develop-
at 46.
You develop so many connections with people. And like,
Yes.
if you care about someone, you don't want them to leave your life, even if they
Yep.
don't care about you. Accepting that they don't care about you is so hard.
So hard, especially when you're just an emotional being.
Yes,
Right. You lead with your
yes.
heart
Absolutely.
and your emotions.
Yes, I'm a Virgo. I'm a highly emotional individual. That's just who I am.
Yes. The other thing too, and you touched on it, we both touched on it quite early in the episode, is a really important thing the author says to do is it is crucial to take inventory of your values and to not lose sight of those.
Yeah.
So yes, that person may look so good looking and you may read the profile and go, I don't know, but you keep going back to their face.
Right.
And you sit at the date and go, I don't know, but looking good. Well, at the end of the day, go back to those values and don't stray from those, because at the end of the day, that's going to make the biggest difference between whether you're happy or not, or whether this is a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship. And keep going back to that, and that will keep you grounded in your space.
Yep.
Totally. Totally.
So important. So we've discussed the unfortunate things that can go wrong. But what if things go well, girl, and you end up meeting this person in real life, sitting across the table at a restaurant with them? What is your experience with the meetup phase? And does it cause any anxiousness for you? I mean, you said you've nailed the first date.
I have, yes. But there was a time when I was so anxious. It
Okay.
was, you feel like you're going to
Mm.
throw up. You've got
Yes.
all of the big feelings of I've never met this person, and like the also sort of constant reminder of I've never met this person and I'm meeting up
Mhm.
with them right now. Like that's sometimes scary. And I
Mhm.
think especially as you're still developing in who you are as an individual and standing behind everything that makes you who you are, opening that up to be interpreted by someone else is really scary because it's like, what
So
if they don't like who I am? And
Totally.
I don't even know if I like who I am right now. So I think
Mhm.
that that is like a whole nother layer to it. But where I'm at in dating now, no, it's not something that I get anxious about because I'm so comfortable with who I am as an individual
Mhm.
and what I bring to the table. And if it's not for them, then they weren't meant for me.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to change myself to be someone who would want something else from me. But there was a time in my life where I probably would have because I was trying to figure out what dating looked like and what it meant to be a supportive partner and show up for someone. That doesn't mean change who you are, turns out.
Right. It
It means
doesn't.
continue to be who you are.
Mhm.
So I think in terms of anxiety and all of those sort of stressful feelings when it goes into dating, I feel them more now as things get more serious
Mhm.
because it is a bigger commitment and it's can I envision a life with this person? Can I share these things with them? Do I feel comfortable putting those walls down and being
Mhm.
someone that can share? I'm a very private individual. And so, like, when I choose to open up to someone, that means something to me.
Yes.
But there are some people that are not so private in that sense. And so then they open up to everyone. And maybe that means more to me than it does to them.
Mhm.
But I now interpret this as okay, we're building a relationship here. But realistically, they're telling everyone and their mother these things.
Right.
So I think, there's the initial anxiety of going on the date, which I've surpassed, but so many women and men haven't. And that is
Mhm.
so fair to not
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it is meeting someone new and it's so scary. But then there's the anxieties of like building a relationship with someone you met online. And that's scary too, because you don't have those feelings of, well, my best friend's mom recommended him to me, so he
Yes,
has to
girl.
be a good guy.
Yes.
Those things don't
Yes.
exist. And then you hear the horror stories and all of these other things. And it's like, you really have to trust that gut and continue to show up for yourself because no one else is going to show up for you in those spaces. And so I think the anxieties are there, but they just show differently depending on what stage of dating you're at.
And I think you bring up such a great point of trusting your gut because I would say from talking to people and then for myself. So I just went off the apps because I did find someone and
So
it
exciting.
is so exciting, but everything you just said is so accurate, right? In
Right.
that he is a wonderful man, but I literally know only what he has shared,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I don't have a bestie who's like, girl, I'm going to set you up with this person. There's no connection. It's just what he has shared with me so far. So it's just trusting the gut and going, I feel he's a good human. Therefore, he is,
Yes.
right?
Right. And giving yourself grace and understanding that you don't need to fast track anything, especially when it comes to online dating.
Mhm.
Like, for the first 3 months, he was the greatest guy, and maybe in 5 months, things change. That's okay. Like,
It is
you're
okay.
you're allowed to accept the fact that you didn't know anything about him going in, and you learned something about yourself in the process.
Mm.
I think so many people tie so much to time, and it's like, I've
Mhm.
spent so much time, I don't wanna go back on the apps. This is comfortable, but he's not who I thought he was.
And to your point, going back to what you said earlier, I think it's so important to remember because you said all of your friends are newly married or engaged or
Right.
whatever. And I think that timepiece causes anxiety because you, in the back of your mind, go, okay, we're 5 months in and now I don't know.
Right.
And everybody's married and everybody's engaged or whatever. That should not matter.
Yes.
There should not be a connection or correlation to it.
Right.
Keep that timepiece separate. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with anybody else's relationship.
Right, and that's hard to do,
It
especially
is
when you're
hard.
young because it's
Yes.
like you wanna clap for others and be so excited for them,
Yep.
and you'll wait for it to be your turn, but that's easier said than done, for sure.
For sure it
Yeah.
is. It for sure it is. So we've met someone we want to date, things are going well, but the app might still present an obstacle in this relationship. So I want to share a scenario that a 20 something online dater stated that I never thought about. And I'm wondering, I would love to get your perspective on this. She stated that the biggest negative aspect for her wasn't finding someone online, it was the hit to her self esteem once she had found someone because she knew he still had hundreds of options out there still on the app. So she could never truly feel secure. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that it is such a fair feeling to have, and I think that there are so many men and women who feel this way about dating. But I think I would challenge that and saying there are options everywhere, and there always will be.
Correct.
And that says more, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but it says more about you than it does about your partner.
Mhm.
And there's some things that you got to work through to understand that if your partner is choosing you, they're choosing you for a reason, and you should trust that reason.
Yep.
And if things don't work out, then things don't work out, but then that wasn't meant for you.
Mhm.
And I think that all of those feelings are so valid because it is a constant reminder that there are so many options, but the same could be said in the reverse. You're
Yep.
on the apps. There are so many options for you as well, but you're choosing this person because you see real value in them. So assume that that's the case in the reverse as well. And if there's issues with trust and bigger things like that, then work through those outside of the definition that is a dating app, because there's something bigger on the brain
What
then.
a beautiful
You got it, girl.
outlook. Yes.
Yeah, I have a strong sense we may need you back.
Anytime. I
Yep.
love to talk.
Yep. I love this. Does not getting matches or receiving no applies affect your self-worth? Although, this is how people date, right? Like this is the norm. Everyone's used to it.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I think that it does. I think that, again, it sort of circles back to that thought of why are we on the app? So if you're on the app looking for a real connection and you are in a stable mindset where you're like, if they didn't respond, they didn't see something in me, and they were probably swiping pretty fast. And I was a match that maybe they weren't super thrilled about, but we were still matching. That is easy to wrap your head around when you're in a space where it's like, okay, on to the next. But when you're in a space where it's like, I am on this app for attention in this exact moment, because a lot of people do that, it can really take you down deeper into a hole. And like, in that case, you're starting pretty down low, you're jumping on for that immediate dopamine hit, like we talked about. And if you're not getting matches right away, if people aren't messaging you back, your brain immediately is like, well, I was right.
Yep.
I had no value to
I'm
this.
not worthy.
I'm not worthy. No one wants me. And those thoughts continue to spiral further and deeper. So again, I think it's about being intentional with when you're choosing to use the apps. And if you're feeling down and you're like, wow, I need some affirmation, I need a dopamine hit, maybe turn to a friend in that moment instead of a dating app.
For sure. And I think a word you used twice was need.
Yeah.
As far as a tip, and a fellow online dater who's in her 40s said this, don't be going online if you need something or someone, or to fill a void, or for that dopamine hit. Go when you want. I want to share my life with someone.
Yeah.
I want a companion.
Very good point.
Not I need someone, because then if you need something, you're going to attract an unhealthy partner.
Exactly.
But if you want someone and you're secure with yourself and you're in a place where you're mentally strong, you're going to attract something that's more like a healthy companion for you, a partner that's going to complement the things within you.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
And if you're sitting there going, well, yeah, I'm not in a great space, like you said, pause your membership.
Yeah, take a break.
Take a break.
Take a screen break.
Yep, which I think is so important. So
reach out to the relationships. You mentioned friends.
Yeah.
Reach out to the people who can help you with.
Yes. Yeah. When I'm down,
friend.
it's like, I'll give my mom a call because she's always going to tell me things to pick me up. And that's not going to be what you'll always find on a dating app for sure.
Have you noticed a connection between your app usage and just mental health struggles in general?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it took me a while to identify this. And I am, a seasoned vet when it comes to speaking with a therapist. That is something that I have had in my life since I was in high school.
Which I wish everybody,
right? I know,
like everyone needs a therapist.
That's a plug for therapy. Every single time you are feeling something, there is a professional out there to help support you through it. And we're not designed to experience all that we're taking in online in the way that we are. So I think having someone to help you work through it is so important. And so I think there was a time in my life where I was definitely more active on dating apps when I was not my best. Because I was looking for that affirmation from a bigger picture, from something else outside of myself, because I didn't like what was happening inside of myself.
You were looking for something more that you needed.
Right. And instead, you got to do that work inside. I think as I've gotten older and I've learned more about what I'm looking for in a partner, what I'm looking for in dating in general, like what I find enjoyable and the types of dates that I like to go on, and where I'm at in a mental space, I don't do that any longer. I turn to dating when I'm ready to be in a space to get to know someone, because it's also not fair to them. If you're opening a door to someone and you're just in such a space where you're just looking for someone that's going to lift you up, but you can't give that to someone else, then what's the point of doing it? It's just using someone. So I think that there's so many different ways that you can use dating apps when you're mentally all over the place. But I personally, again, I'm going to circle back to the intention. You have to be intentional with it. Otherwise, it is going to take you down with them, because they are designed to keep you online all the time if you let it.
Right.
Yeah. And licensed marriage and family therapist Alyssa Foreman talks about some of those negative psychological impacts. One of them being depression.
Yeah.
And can absolutely see why this would occur. That there is this tie between depression and dating apps, because you're meeting people so often that you can bump into this frequent rejection. You're not only getting rejected potentially by one person at a time, but anybody who's viewing your profile. And we talked about this experience of rejection just a minute ago, which of course can affect our self-esteem and mood.
Right.
Totally.
Which can lead then to also things like anxiety.
Yes.
Right. So it's that idea of you start to begin to have anxious thoughts like, are they going to actually show up for the date? Are they actually going to like me if they do show up for the date? Which is a whole other thing in that.
Even dating app addiction.
Yes. And we talk about addiction with phones and social media all the time.
Yeah, with apps, we can get hooked on continually updating profiles, checking in to see if anybody's responded. I'm sure you're nodding your head.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
thinking I could totally see how it's easy to get pulled into that. Just the process can become consuming.
Yeah.
And cause an impact on highs and lows.
Absolutely. Also, there's this beautiful thing called immediate gratification that people are used to.
Yes.
You can develop this habit of just becoming so impatient, right? Because the real world doesn't always lend itself to that things happening so quickly. And so it's setting up this unreasonable expectation that the relationship should happen overnight and instantly.
And because we see so many things happening so quickly with online dating, we can learn about so much more about them so quickly by just even looking at a profile.
Yeah.
Than what we would do if we were meeting somebody out in person.
Right.
And that can lead to challenges forming relationships, which has this mental health impact. It can make it harder for us to actually meet people face to face. And you brought up such a beautiful point at the beginning of the show that you grew up in a generation that was all online. And so thinking about the mental health impact of having to transition to knowing someone virtually to having to meet them and be with them in person, and that sense of developing relationship or interpersonal connection, not using a screen.
Right. Which leads to self-esteem issues.
Totally.
Of are they going to like the person I really am versus who I presented, and was it accurate?
Who they thought I was.
Are they going to be disappointed? Yeah. Are they going to be disappointed?
Yeah. And I think something else to add to that is when you look at, ideally, like in the perfect world for me, I would meet someone through a friend, or I would,
of course,
as anyone would, because it's comfortable and it's easy. But dating apps take out the gray space, because if I've met someone through a friend and I'm attracted to them, or I feel like we have a connection, but I don't know how to gauge that, dating apps remove that entirely, because the intention is clear when someone matches you that they find you attractive, that they're interested in getting to know you.
That's one of the coolest things about it.
Right.
Mental health impact on a sense of confidence too. We highlight the negative side of self-esteem, but immediately the point of them matching with you was that they wanted to match with you.
Right.
Yes.
There's no ambiguity there.
Yeah. Yes. And when you struggle with the gray area, which in my life in so many places I have, where it's you develop these close friendships, there's all these different things going on, and you're trying to navigate what's happening here. And my generation wasn't taught how to communicate their feelings in the same way, because you were hiding behind a screen in so many different aspects of life, and you've got the answer to everything at your fingertips. So having somewhere where it is clear, and yes means yes and no means no, and if it's not a yes, then it's a no. It is nice to have that to turn to when you feel sort of defeated by the world of dating that exists outside of the dating apps.
Part of what I really love about also what you're saying is, in the benefit of online dating, some of the things that people ask or share in their profiles are things we would love to know about a person that we wouldn't necessarily find out until we've known them for a while.
Totally.
Right.
And so you are able to a little bit discern. It might be a little bit more immediate gratification, as you mentioned, Tara. It might pull us on the side of like, I know this quickly. It would have taken me
Yes.
months to find it out.
Yes, but thank you.
But we're learning it.
Yes.
And we are able to say not a fit or a fit.
Yes.
So much to think about here. This was such a cool discussion. We're headed to a commercial break, but when we come back, we will talk through your questions, listeners. Feels Out Loud will process your thoughts in just a moment.
You don't never need help from nobody else. All you got to do now. Nothing to lose. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is
We are back again with Feels Out Loud, and this part of the show is where we talk through questions from you all, our listeners. If you have a question related to mental wellness, sharing feelings, or topics for each week that you would like us to process through, please visit our website at becomingtogethermn.com and find the Feels Out Loud page to submit a question directly, or email us at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. Of course, follow us on social media as well. We really do want to hear from you and what you're wondering about, everyone.
A ginormous thank you to our listeners who have sent in questions about online dating. This one stood out right away, so I needed to ask this one because it pertained to a little bit different of a demographic, and I loved her honesty. It says, I'm a 50-year-old single female who works hard and loves her independence, and I have no interest in those dating apps. Is there an alternative to dating apps that isn't traditional dating? Yes, my dear. There is an alternative. A couple just really quickly that you can go and research, and I know there's access to. I've researched these and have friends that have used them, so I can vouch for them. It's Just Lunch is a matchmaking one where they do all the dirty work for you. You just show up. They even tell you where to go. It's Just Lunch. There's speed dating for all ages. And there's something called Events and Adventures where, again, they do all the dirty work. You just show up. We have one final question rather than a viewer's question. Miss Audrey, I would love to know final tips, advice for all the beautiful online daters out there.
I think the best thing you can do is just be yourself and trust that what's meant for you will find you. Continue to put yourself out there, even if you feel as though you've sort of been beaten up in the process of dating. I think that as you date more, you get more comfortable with it. And the more first dates you go on, the more you realize that it really is not a reflection of yourself if you're rejected or any of these things. So continue to be kind to yourself and give yourself grace and take time when you need to take time to take a break from dating and choose yourself every single time, because when you find the person that is a good fit, they will choose you too. So it's trusting the process and allowing yourself to just be who you are and continue to show up authentically as yourself. I have a friend, he tells me all the time, why would you want to be anyone other than yourself? And why would you want to make space and give time for someone that doesn't want you to be yourself?
Exactly.
Because there is no room for that in your life. Life is short. It feels long sometimes, but it's really short. And if you're doing anything other than honoring yourself and choosing yourself and putting yourself first, you're not making the most of your life. So I would say just continue to be yourself. And I know it sounds cliche and everyone says it all the time, but I really do mean it. And I think the more that you date and the more comfortable you get in the space of online dating, the more you'll realize that it is really important, because the people that you're meeting and the relationships that you're creating and the connections that you're building, if you're not authentically yourself, you're not actually building a real connection that's going to benefit you in the long run. So I would say really just be yourself and continue to try and put yourself out there, even when it's scary and when it's hard, because something's around the corner. I trust it. And I'm single and I'm saying that. So
Amen.
Well,
Wise words.
You do such a beautiful job of reflecting on giving yourself grace for the moment that you're in. We talk on the show all the time about self-compassion, responding to our moments with curiosity and not self-judgment. You do such a beautiful job of saying, hey, apply that to the dating space. However you're feeling, if that might mean that you need to take a break from online dating too. Take this moment, take note of self, and then respond to that with compassion.
Right. And you're going to go on a bad date. That's going to happen. That's inevitable.
Yep.
So take what you learn from that and apply it to the next one.
Well, I always say really bad dates create really good stories.
They do. The amount of stories I have could be an entirely different episode.
See?
Yeah.
Episode upon episode. So
this has been an amazing discussion. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about how many stories you two could tell me.
Oh,
about
girl, we
all
could
of
write
it.
a
Yes.
But we're already at the end of our show today. Thank you for listening this morning, everyone. Join us next week as we explore the concept of uncoupling with our special guest, Andy Garbers. And in the week ahead, be kind to yourself. Remember, connection fosters wellness, and your voice is one that the world around you needs to hear. Share yourselves, friends.
Some go